Hey folks, it's Jim from the Movie Rewind here to review the Alfred Hitchcock psychological melodrama Rebecca, which follows actress Joan Fontaine, known only as Miss De Winter, after marrying the wealthy, distraught widower Maxim in Monte Carlo, quitting her job as a paid companion to Miss Hopper, a rich snob. Maxim, played by Laurence Olivier, takes the 21-year-old orphan to Manderley, his country house in Cornwall, England. There they are greeted by his servants, including Mrs. Danvers, played by Judith Anderson, who disapproves of Maxim's new wife in comparison to his previous one, the infamous Rebecca, whose death causes great turmoil within Maxim. Preserving Rebecca's former bedroom as a shrine, Miss Danvers tries to drive the second Miss De Winter mad, failing to live up to Rebecca's beauty and virtues. Questioning her relationship with Maxim, our naive, innocent, and young woman tries to pry the past and understand the true nature of Maxim's history with this haunting ghost. Winner of Best Picture but not Best Director, Rebecca was Alfred Hitchcock's first American film, and while it's not one of his best, it's not too shabby either. Actually, it's a fine winner, all things considered. Olivier was charismatic and brooding, capable of being both sympathetic and at times high-tempered. Anderson plays a memorable villain. Right from the get-go, her eyes communicate a repulsion towards Maxim's new wife. Perhaps her most terrifying scene involves her recollecting her memories of the old Mrs. De Winter in her bedroom. In a complete trance, she brings the new Miss De Winter to tears by her overwhelming obsession and praise. However, Joan Fontaine would later appear in Hitchcock's Suspicion and win the Academy Award for Best Actress, gives the best performance. She's a bit absent in the last half hour, but this is still her film. We misread her relationship with Maxim because Hitchcock wants us to. We see a man still obsessed with his wife. We see a woman who will always be in the shadow of a former wife. Try as she might, she is having difficulties adjusting to this pampered world and its responsibilities. However, rather than being disgusted by the actions of Maxim's past, which she comes to find out, she is deeply changed. Her innocence is gone, as Maxim would say. I think it's best to leave out some of the details regarding the third act of the film. These reveals might not come at the very end, but they are still plot details that change the course of the last half hour. The film is beautifully shot, and as with almost any Hitchcock film, the score is prominent. The country house is not to look necessarily spooky, but overwhelming as we see through the eyes of Mrs. De Winter. The house is like a labyrinth, and wherever our nameless protagonist is, Mrs. Danvers probably isn't far behind. Florence Bates adds a little bit of humor in the earlier parts of the picture as Mrs. Hopper, while George Sanders is appropriately well-spoken but sleazy as Jack, Rebecca's cousin. What gives Rebecca momentum is how it constantly shifts and keeps your interest, and I think it's worth checking out if you haven't seen it. That's it from the Movie Rewind. Have a good day, folks. Until next time.